All right, so the new box is out, Visions of Ice, and with it came Spellbooks. If you hate Sylvans, then you're going to love this deck. Now, is this deck tier 1? We don't know for sure. It's going to take some testing. I know a few top player council members truly believe that this is a tier 1 deck type, but to know for sure, we have a meta weekly coming, and then even better, we have the MCS in 2 weeks, which will be the true test of Spellbooks being a tier 1 deck or not. With that said, let's head into the deck. What does this deck do? Let's start off with Spell Magician of Prophecy. This tiny little monster, when it's summoned, you add 1 spellbook card from your deck to your hand. Let's look at the other monster. We have Prophecy Destroyer. We're playing 3 of this. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 3 spellbook spell cards from your graveyard, special summon this card from your graveyard. So how we get this card out is through Grass is Greener. Grass is Greener. If you have more cards in your deck than your opponent does, you send cards on the top of your deck until your deck equals your opponent's deck size. Now, if you're not able to send it to the graveyard through Grass is Greener, you could tribute summon your Spellbook Magician, or you could even Spellbook a Life, then tribute the monster you summon with that to get this out. This card is nuts. Usually after a Grass is Greener, you will dump one that's a free 2,500 on summon, and if anything happens so you can just resummon it next turn. Sometimes you're in scenarios where you could summon multiple. Sometimes you summon this, you could tribute it, then summon the one back onto the field. Now, similar to Prophecy Destroyer, we have Reaper of Prophecy, who is also level 6, so you could tribute summon for this card. When this card is normal or special summoned, now to special summon this card, you don't have that special effect like Prophecy Destroyer, but you do have a card called Spellbook of Life. Spellbook of Life, you banish another spellcaster from the graveyard, reveal a spellbook card in your hand, then you could special summon Reaper of Prophecy with that card. Now, Reaper of Prophecy on summon will check the graveyard for how many spellbook cards with different names. If you have 3 or more with different names, this card gains 600. If you have 4 or more, in addition to gaining 600, you will also add a spellbook spell card from your deck to your hand. If you also have 5 or more, you're going to gain 600, add a spellbook, and special summon a level 5 or higher dark spellcaster from your deck. So with 5 or more different spellbook cards in your graveyard, spellbook spells, you'll be able to summon Reaper of Prophecy and then special summon a Prophecy Destroyer from the deck, and also add a spellbook card from your deck. Now, the final monster we're playing is Lila. It is mostly because it is a spellcaster. Usually your spellbook cards require a spellcaster on the field, or you have a card like Spellbook of Life that wants to banish a spellcaster. Also, Lila mills in the end phase, which works well with Prophecy Destroyer, and also Spellbook of Fate, which we will get into in a second. Now, I was going back and forth with Lila and Needlebug Nest, so both can be completely viable. Needlebug Nest, not a spellcaster, but if you do not draw into Grass is Greener, Needlebug Nest can help a lot. So on to the spellbook cards. We have Spellbook of Life, we already talked about, that special summons a spellcaster from the graveyard. Now we have Spellbook of Secrets. Spellbook of Secrets, you add 1 spellbook card from your deck to your hand, except a Spellbook of Secrets. You can only activate 1 of these once per turn. This card could add Magician. Magician could add this card. So these both could search each other, and these both could also search any spellbook card in the deck. Now, the other spellbook card, which is your main removal, is Spellbook of Fate. Spellbook of Fate is a quick play card. If you have 3 spellbook cards in the graveyard, you could banish 3 of them to banish 1 card your opponent controls. Now, this card does not target. That's right. What does it mean by not targeting? That means when you flip this up, your opponent has to respond to it. Then when you choose what card to banish, they cannot respond to that. So if they have a face down enemy controller and they do not flip it face up, you could banish the face down enemy controller and they will not be able to flip it up. Spellbook of Fate is how you counter Sylvans, not only through the banish effect, but through its second effect, where if you only banish 2 spellbook cards, you change a monster on the field to face down defense or to face up attack. Now, against Kummushroom, if you use the effect to flip it face up, it will get its effect. but not if you use it on Chain Link 2 or higher. If you summon a Magician of Prophecy, you get through all the searches, you play Spellbook of Power, and you chain a Spellbook of Fate, you could flip up that face down Mushroom, and then Spellbook of Fate with Magician will swing over the Mushroom. So whether you banish or flip up the Mushroom at the correct time, this card counters Mushroom. Now, if you only banish one Spellbook card, you will return a set spell and trap on the field back to the hand. So Spellbook of Power, like we just mentioned, you target a spellcaster monster you control. Until the end phase, it gains 1000 attack. Also, if you destroy a monster by battle, you get to add one spellbook card from your deck to your hand. You can only activate one per turn, so you can't stack these unless you use a card like Spellbook of the Master. Spellbook of the Master, you reveal another spellbook card from your hand, then you target a spellbook normal spell in your graveyard, except Spellbook of the Master. This card's effect becomes that target's effect. You can only activate one per turn, and you must have a spellcaster on the field. So with this card, usually you're going to copy Spellbook of Secrets to just search another card in your deck, but you could also copy Spellbook of Power. So you could play Power, gain 1000, and then copy it to gain 2000. So while Spellbook of Power can only be activated once per turn, with the use of Spellbook of the Master, that allows you to go up to 2000 and you get 2 searches. And the final spellbook card we are using is Spellbook of Eternity. Target one of your banished Spellbook spell cards except Spellbook of Eternity, add that target to your hand. You can only activate one of these once per turn. This card is very similar to Spellbook of Secrets, but instead of searching from your deck, you search from your banished pile. And how do we banish cards? We have Spellbook of Fate, banishes up to 3. You have Prophecy Destroyer, banishes 3. So through Fate and Prophecy Destroyer, that is how you'll be adding those cards back to your hand. And for the final card, which is a non-spellbook card, we have Monster Gate. Tribute one monster, excavate the top cards of your deck until you excavate a monster that could be normal summoned / set. You special summon it, and then you send all other cards to the graveyard. This is like playing a 4th Grass is Greener. So if you're restarting for Grass is Greener and you don't have it, but you have a Monster Gate and a normal summon, I would definitely keep that hand. It is just like Grass is Greener. So hopefully with Monster Gate, you mill a bunch of your spellbook cards, and then you could special summon a Prophecy Destroyer, or you could special summon a Reaper of Prophecy. All right, with all of that said, let's head into the gameplay. All right, opening with Grass is Greener, mill 10. And usually with spellbooks, you want to add Blue Boy. You just want to set up a Spellbook of Fate and just set it. That is a normal term for spellbooks, but if you open up with Grass is Greener, you could do much bigger things with that, which is what we are doing. We are not only setting up for Spellbook of Fate, we are doing a Spellbook of Life to summon Reaper. Now we do have 5 or more spellbooks in the grave, but due to having all our Prophecy Destroyers in our hand, graveyard, and or banished, we are not able to special summon from the deck. So we summon Prophecy Destroyer normally. We use Eternity. We set up. We're setting up with our Fates. So it is a confirmed Cancer deck. We're going to use Spellbook of Fate in the end phase to start dealing with the back row. We banish a Massive Morph. Now, I got to grind through this. I'm going to keep searching Spellbook of Fates and just going to keep recycling it. So summon Blue Boy, add Eternity, add another Fate back, and let's just start grinding through this. Now we swing in Super Rush. I am not having any of it. We're going to Spellbook of Fate, does not target, so we must respond then and there. Banishes the Amazonas. We get Massive Morph. We swing for 500. Now I am expecting a Lava Golem here. Now, if he were to Lava Golem, we would tribute it with Prophecy Destroyer. He swings into our 5200, but I use Spellbook of Fate to flip down our own monster to reset the Massive Morph, and we only take 100, so now our Reaper of Prophecy is good. Now, because there was no delay on the Spellbook Secrets, I am expecting the back row to be a life drain. So I swing in for 500, 2,500 he gains from 1,000, and with that is perfect game, 3,500 direct. All right, restarting for Grass is Greener and or a Monster Gate. Not able to have it, but we do have a Needlebug Nest. Now I am playing against Cyber Angels. Usually I'm expecting an OTK, but the Yu-Gi-Oh gods have smiled upon us and we are not getting OTK'd. We have a Saphira and a Senju. That is going to put us down to 100 life points. 14, 25, and Saphir discards our Prophecy Destroyer. Thank you, kind sir. Grass is greener off the top of the deck. We do not need our Needlebug Nest. We banish 3, summon our Prophecy Destroyer. We're going to Eternity, add our secrets back to our hand. We're going to play secrets to search our deck for any spellbook card. We add life. We're going to reveal the Spellbook of Masters. We're going to banish the Magician, summon the Reaper. Reaper effect is going to add a Spellbook of Power and special summon a Prophecy Destroyer from the deck. Now we're going to use Spellbook of Master to use our Eternity to add our Fate back to our hand. Now Fate could banish the Saphira, but we are going to use Spellbook of Power to gain up to 3,600, search a Spellbook of Secrets, and Fate will finish them. Fate, banish 3, banish the monster, 25 to the face. All right, we open Grass is Greener, no need to restart, and we're going to start off with a Prophecy Destroyer on the field because with Spellbook of Master, we need a Spellbook monster on the field. But we're going to Eternity first book, search for Magician anyway, set up the Fate. So now instead of just having a small Magician on the field, we got a 2,500 on the field, backed up with the Fate, and we are set up for next turn. We're going to set the Needlebug and Fate. We got the follow-up. Every turn we can recycle the Spellbook of Fate. We are playing against a Vision Hero Witcher, and I say no! We banish it with the Fate, and he pretty much scoops after that, I believe. We tribute for Reaper. He did not scoop yet. We add a Spellbook of Secrets, then he scoops. So that shows that you're able to protect your Spellbook Magician with Fate, and even if you draw your Reaper or draw your Prophecy Destroyer, you could tribute summon for them. But ideally, you do want them in the graveyard. All right, get this out of my hand. I want a Grass is Greener. We don't get Grass is Greener, but we're still gonna play it out. Spellbook Magician, add secrets. We are setting up for a Spellbook of Fate. We're gonna play Master and search the Fate. Fate will only be able to flip a monster on the field face down or face up. You could play Spellbook of Power here to get the 3rd in the grave just to banish, but we don't do that. We play Spellbook of Magician, the other one, add a Master. Now we're gonna play Power and chain Fate. Very important, you have to chain Fate in order for it to miss its timing. Now that it has missed its timing, we are gonna go balls deep in. Secret, add up another Fate, and we are gonna search 2 Spellbook cards after that. We have a major follow-up next turn if he is able to do anything. Add 2 Spellbook cards, hit him for 500, back to his turn. So very important, chain link to a Fate, like I said. That will cause Kumushroom to miss its timing. He's got no real play. We're just gonna Fate that off the field, get out of here, and he's finished. Now, just in case, if he were to play Grit, we would be able to set up with another Spellbook of Fate. All right, I see Grass. I am happy. We keep it. 10 in the grave. We got a Prophecy Destroyer, banish 3 to special summon a 2,500. Eternity, add the secrets. You know, that's just gonna set it all up. When you have an Eternity in your hand, you're able to banish with Prophecy Destroyer. We are gonna banish early because we are expecting a Sylvan player, not a Kumushroom. It is a Rose Lover, and no Grit for you. All right, Grass, and I am keeping it. We are playing against another Spellbook player, quite different than ours. Spellbook Magician, add that Fate, just add the missing pieces, play this out. Now, because there are no delays and he's got nothing in the graveyard, I'm expecting nothing to be in the back row really. So I'm just going for it. Double Spellbook of Power, just so I get the Prophecy Destroyer out. Let's do this. 25, search 2, Prophecy of Destroyer to the face, and we get to search 2. That's too much advantage. He just bricked. All right, restarting this. No, thank you. We got Monster Gate with this hand. All right, Spellbook of Secrets. We do not even go for the Magician. I think all 3 of our Magicians are actually in the graveyard. So we got Reaper of Prophecy, and I believe we do have the effects. Yes, we do. We special summon from the deck. quite a powerful turn 1 hand, if I do say so myself. We use the effect of Secrets in the Grave with Master. We Monster Gate to tribute the Prophecy just so we could re-special summon it. Unfortunately, we do not summon another Prophecy Destroyer. Instead, we got a Magician, but that's all good. We got a Fate face down. We could banish at any moment during their turn. We got 3 monsters, turn 1 on the field. Banish that off the field. I don't want it. And then we tribute for the Destroyer. Now, in case if it was a Grip player, we know it's not Grip, but we are setting up properly where we could Fate on their turn. So even if they were to Grit, we still have a Spellbook of Fate banished during their turn. All right, Monster Gate, I am keeping that just like we said. We still topped a Grass is Greener though. Grass is Greener, looks like the Dark World has bricked. Let's just have our fun with him. Let's show him a true sack deck. Unfortunately, we do not get a Prophecy Destroyer nor a Reaper from the top of the deck, but we do have a Destroyer in the grave. Very simple. When you have a field like this, all you need is 1 Spellbook of Power onto your Magician or Destroyer. That equals 4,000 damage if you're able to Spellbook of Fate their monster off the field. So 15 plus 25, Power plus Fate, you win. Sylvans, no match for my Grass is Greener spellcasters. I don't think so. Let's figure out what to do with him. We're going to spell Book of Life. We're going to get Lila out to pop the back row. He preemptively econs. We're going to tribute for the Prophecy Destroyer. I'm going to spell Book of Fate, assuming it is not a Ku Mushroom. We still banish a Carrotway champion. That is still very good. He sets and ends his turn. We use the first effect of Spellbook of Fate, which is to banish 1 card and send the set back to the hand. I am hoping to finish him off just from that. We draw our Eternity. Now, in case we don't finish him off, we're going to add our Fate and set it. And his Grip procs at 1,500, but he still scoops. As you can see with us finishing off players, almost every game where we finish off someone, we have a follow-up Spellbook of Fate. So it's not all in. It's not like, oh my god, if Grit happens, we lose, or if they have a Karibo, it's over. We would pretty much still win. As soon as we swarm the field and we go for a game, if there's a follow-up turn, they are not going to survive a Spellbook of Fate. All right, Grit Sylvans once more. Turn 1 set. We're gonna Grass is Greener, summon the Prophecy Destroyer from the grave by banishing 3. Now we're gonna Master onto Spellbook. We're gonna reveal Fate on and then use it on Eternity. Eternity will add. We're gonna add Secrets. We're gonna play Secrets. We're gonna grab Master. We're going to tribute the Prophecy Destroyer. Now, very important that what's happening right here. So we tributed Prophecy Destroyer because we have more than 3 Spellbooks in the grave, so we could summon the Prophecy Destroyer that we just tributed. Now, Prophecy Destroyer, its effect to summon activates in the grave. It doesn't just summon. So it starts a chain link. Chain link 1 is Prophecy Destroyer. Now, this is my opportunity with my final 2 Spellbooks in the grave. I'm not able to banish here. I do not have 3. So with the final 2 Spellbooks in grave, I am going to chain my Spellbook of Fate. This is the last opportunity to do this. If you do not activate here and chain to your Prophecy of Destroyer, then it's over, okay? If it's a Ku Mushroom, we chain it correctly. Chain link 2, as you can see right there. Flip up that Ku Mushroom, please, and you missed the timing. Finish him. Oh, there's a Grit, but he scoops anyway. He scoops anyway. Now, to show you what happens when you flip up a Ku Mushroom on Chain Link 2 or higher, because you probably don't believe me, DK'd, they're just not activating their effect. Oh yeah, do you see that? Look at that. Missed the activation timing. You cannot activate the effect of Sylvan Ku Mushroom. If you are a Sylvan player, well, expect to see this a lot from people watching my video. So Spellbooks, great counter to Sylvans. Even if you don't have Grass is Greener, with Spellbook of Fate, you could flip them up on Chain Link 2 or higher, or you could just banish in general. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope to do more videos like this in the future. If you guys enjoy this, let me know in the comments. If you like this kind of live commentary for replays, I don't believe I've ever made a video like this. Usually I write up a script and I look at the gameplay, then I put it over the gameplay. So this is me watching the gameplay with you and just speaking over it. So you let me know if you like it, guys. Thank you. DK Brigade out.